There are a couple unusual things in the gospel I would just like to get out of this so we don't focus on them. The first is Peter wanting to build 3 tents. Now, the Jews had a festival called Sukkah, or the Feast of Tabernacles. Tabernacle also translates as tent or dwelling. This was something that would have been a normal thing to have done, so that Moses and Elijah and Jesus would dwell with them. The second part is when they were afraid and fell prostrate on the ground. They heard God's voice. Now, in the Old Testament, it says, if you see the face of God, you will not live. You will be annihilated. They believed that clearly, and they fell prostrate. What is unusual is the vision they saw. Now, in the last sentence, be very clear, in this gospel alone, Jesus calls this a vision. A vision is a spiritual, mystical experience that they had. St. Gregory of Collins talks about this vision and says that it was not Jesus who was really transfigured, for he is light. He's the light of the world. How can you get any more light than that? It was the 3 disciples whose eyes were transfigured. They could now see that light clearly. A transformation took place in their lives. He calls this the great transfiguration. It's about us. It's about us seeing Christ. It's about us transforming our lives. We are at the time of Lent. The word Lent means spring. We are in the early part of spring, where the sap begins to flow into the trees, where life starts coming back. This is about life. It's about our spiritual life deep within, calling us deeper into Christ. Example of transformations are around us. We do it in our lives all the time. First day of school is a transforming experience. Things don't change after that. We have made a change that is made in our lives. Going away from home is another transforming experience. Having a child, getting married. These are physical and sometimes spiritual transformations, depending on what's going on inside. Transformation, though, that we're talking about today, that we are all called to take part in, is a spiritual inward transformation, allowing the life of Christ to fill us up. St. Therese of Lisieux was in a convent, and she had fellow nuns who didn't like her very much. They gave her grief, they gave her a difficult time. Sometimes they accused her of things she didn't do. It was very distressing to her until her moment of transformation. Her moment of transformation was she realized what we now call the little way. That she would return kindness for anything that was given to her. She would never return insult because of injury that she received. Transformed. She wanted to do great things, but in a convent she believed that she could only do little things in a great way. Today, she is a doctor of the church, the youngest doctor of the church. We can learn a lot from St. Therese. Archbishop Oscar Romero is another one with a transforming experience. When he was named Archbishop of San Salvador, the country was at war with itself, and on the poor people, mostly, who experienced it. There were death squads. People disappeared, never to be seen again. When Oscar Romero was appointed as Archbishop, people were disappointed. They wanted someone to speak out against this. He was not known to speak out against anything. A fellow Jesuit came to him and said, Listen to the poor, and they will teach you. Be the voice of the voiceless. His friend died soon after that from a death spell. And Bishop Oscar Merrill, standing over him, received his transformation in a most painful way. And he spoke for the poor. He spoke for those people who did not have a voice. As he spoke, the military death squads started going after priests and after church workers. But he would not stop. The transformation was full within him. He stayed with that message, asking people in the military to lay down their arms and not fight against their fellow Salvadorans. He died while saying Mass at the hand of an assassin. But he was transformed, and he transformed people around him. Deacon Dan, in his homily last week, asked us a very important question. What is driving us? What is driving us? Is the world driving us? Is it hurting us? Is it pushing us? Is it shoving us? Or is the light of Christ driving us? Is the light of Christ that which makes sense to us, which is compelling us towards transformation on a deeper level? We are all called to that. This Lenten time is a time to go deeper and to find out what's going on with that. Where is our vision? What vision do we hold of Christ in the world? Where is that vision, and how are we pursuing it and living it? That is our call to transformation. What is Christ speaking to you? Where are we today? We're in church. We see each other coming together to praise God. We also come to the Eucharist. The Eucharist itself is a transforming experience spiritually. Normally, when we eat food, it gets transformed into our body. The Eucharist is different. Christ doesn't get transformed into us. We get transformed into Christ. We all carry that light of Christ. Our own transformation is to work to see that, to see it in others. Those we like and those we don't. Those we have difficulties carry this light of Christ. That is our challenge. We are called to share this light with others. Thomas Merton said, if people would only realize this light they carry, this world could not go on the way it does. The reason we don't see it is because we're focused on what we want. But what we really need is Christ.